Welcome to the Vitality Equation, exploring research in health and well-being one paper at a time. Hey everyone, ready to dive into something pretty fascinating today.
Absolutely. I'm eager to see what we unpack today. It's always exciting when we get to explore how research is pushing the boundaries of well-being.
Me too. I'm especially interested in anything that connects the dots between what's happening at a cellular level and how we can influence it through lifestyle choices. I think that is where all the gold is.
Agreed, and today's paper definitely hits that sweet spot. It's all about how personalized microbiome modulation can enhance educational strategies for children with learning differences. It's a longitudinal study investigating the impact of gut microbiota on learning outcomes. So basically, they're looking at how our gut bacteria might be affecting how kids learn.
Wow, that's a powerful combination of fields. It's easy to think of learning as purely a brain-based activity, but the connection to the gut microbiome is increasingly clear, especially when we talk about neurodevelopmental differences. It's wild.
Totally. And it's not just about learning, is it? The gut microbiome is connected to so many things: mood, immune function, even sleep. So if they can show a link to learning differences, that opens up a whole new avenue for intervention.
Exactly. The premise of the study is that the gut microbiome can influence brain development and function through various pathways like the vagus nerve, the immune system, and the production of neurotransmitters. And these pathways can then impact cognitive processes like attention, memory, and executive function, all crucial for learning.
Okay, so what learning differences are they focusing on? Are we talking ADHD, dyslexia, or a broader range of challenges?
That's a great question. From what I gathered, they seem to be looking at a pretty broad range, including things like ADHD, learning disabilities in reading and math, and even some aspects of autism spectrum disorder.
Yeah, it's a pretty inclusive study. And the idea is that by understanding the specific gut microbiome profiles of children with these learning differences, they can develop personalized interventions to modulate the gut microbiota and hopefully improve learning outcomes. It's a long shot, but that is their plan.
Okay, so how do they actually modulate the microbiome? Are they talking about probiotics, prebiotics, dietary changes, or even fecal microbiota transplants? I mean, what is on the table?
From the looks of it, they are mainly focusing on dietary interventions and targeted prebiotic and probiotic supplementation. Fecal transplants are a bit too invasive and ethically complex for a study involving children with learning differences, I think. But the idea is to shift the balance of gut bacteria towards a more beneficial composition.
Right. And the cool thing is, it's not just a blanket approach. They're trying to personalize the interventions based on each child's unique microbiome profile. So if a child is lacking certain beneficial bacteria, they might get a specific probiotic to address that deficiency. Or if they have an overabundance of harmful bacteria, they might get dietary recommendations to help reduce those populations.
That makes sense. It's like personalized medicine for the gut. I wonder how they're measuring learning outcomes, though. Are they using standardized tests, classroom performance, or a combination of things?
They're using a battery of assessments, including standardized academic tests, cognitive assessments, and behavioral questionnaires. They're also tracking things like attendance, grades, and teacher feedback. So it's a pretty comprehensive approach.
And it's a longitudinal study, which means they're following these kids over a period of time. I believe it was a year or two to see how the interventions affect their learning outcomes in the long run. That's really important because it's not just about seeing a short-term improvement. It's about seeing if these changes are sustainable and if they actually make a real difference in the kids' lives.
Absolutely. And I'm curious about the control group. What are they comparing the intervention group to? Are they just using a standard educational approach, or are they doing some kind of placebo intervention?
They have a control group that receives standard educational support, but they also have a second control group that receives a placebo intervention. So they get a prebiotic or probiotic supplement that doesn't actually contain any active ingredients. This helps them control for the placebo effect and see if the actual microbiome modulation is what's driving the changes.
That's a smart design. It's really trying to isolate the impact of the microbiome intervention. But even with all these controls, it's still going to be a complex study to interpret. There are so many factors that can influence learning outcomes. It's hard to tease out the specific contribution of the gut microbiome.
Definitely. And it's not just about the gut microbiome itself, it's also about how it interacts with the child's genetics, their environment, their diet, their lifestyle, and even their stress levels. It's a whole ecosystem of factors that are influencing learning.
Exactly. And that's why a personalized approach is so important. What works for one child might not work for another. It's all about finding the right combination of interventions that address the specific needs of each individual.
So if this study is successful, what are the potential implications? I mean, how could these findings be applied to improve people's lives?
Well, if they can show a clear link between the gut microbiome and learning outcomes, it could revolutionize the way we approach education for children with learning differences. It could lead to new diagnostic tools, personalized interventions, and even preventative strategies to support healthy brain development.
And it's not just about education either. If the gut microbiome can influence cognitive function, it could have implications for other areas of health as well. We might see new treatments for things like anxiety, depression, and even neurodegenerative diseases.
That's right. And it could also lead to a greater emphasis on lifestyle factors like diet and exercise as a way to support healthy brain function throughout life. It's all about recognizing the interconnectedness of the body and mind.
You know, it's interesting to think about how this could tie into cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT). If we can identify specific cognitive distortions or maladaptive thought patterns that are linked to gut microbiome imbalances, we could potentially use CBT techniques to help individuals better regulate their emotional responses and improve their cognitive function.
That's a fascinating idea. Imagine combining microbiome modulation with CBT to create a truly holistic approach to mental health. It could be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it's like addressing the problem from both ends, the biological and the psychological. And I think that's where the real magic happens. Speaking of lifestyle changes, it reminds me of microsatellite instability MSI research in colorectal cancer. They are finding single cell differences. If individual cancer cells have different MSI intensities, maybe different types of meditation could help target specific aspects of cellular behavior. I mean, could specific mindfulness or breathing techniques be tailored for specific MSI level cancer cells to reduce their proliferation or increase their susceptibility to other healing techniques?
Whoa, that's a huge leap. I mean, the idea of using meditation to target specific cancer cells is pretty mind-blowing, but if the research is pointing in that direction, it's definitely worth exploring. But even before we get to that level of specificity, I think there's a lot we can do with general stress reduction techniques like meditation to support overall immune function and resilience in cancer patients.
Absolutely. And it's not just about meditation either. Exercise and sleep also play a crucial role in regulating the immune system and reducing inflammation. So, a comprehensive lifestyle intervention that combines diet, exercise, sleep, and stress management could have a significant impact on cancer outcomes.
That's true. And it's not just about preventing cancer, it's also about improving the quality of life for people who are already living with the disease. CBT can be incredibly helpful in managing the emotional distress, anxiety, and depression that often accompany a cancer diagnosis.
Right. And it can also help people cope with the side effects of treatment like fatigue, nausea, and pain. It's all about empowering people to take control of their health and well-being.
And that's where personalized interventions come in. What works for one person might not work for another. It's all about finding the right combination of strategies that address the individual's specific needs and preferences. Maybe we use heart rate variability biofeedback on top of meditation. Just a thought.
Exactly. It's like creating a personalized vitality equation for each individual. And that's what I find so exciting about this field, the potential to truly tailor our approach to health and well-being to the unique needs of each person.
Me too. And I think the gut microbiome is just one piece of the puzzle. There are so many other factors that we need to consider, like genetics, environment, and even social connections.
Oh, definitely. The social piece is huge. I was just reading a study about how social exclusion can actually trigger a physical pain response in the brain. It's wild.
Whoa, really? That's fascinating. So feeling lonely or isolated can actually make you physically hurt. It reminds me of how important my social connections are. It's not just about feeling good, it's about potentially affecting my overall health. If I can learn to nurture my relationships and build a strong support network, I could be actively improving my physical well-being in a way that goes beyond just lifestyle choices.
Exactly. And that's why social support is such an important part of any comprehensive health plan. It's not just about eating right and exercising, it's also about connecting with other people and feeling like you belong.
Right. And it's not just about quantity, it's also about quality. Having a few close, supportive relationships can be much more beneficial than having a large network of superficial acquaintances.
That's so true. And it's something that we often overlook in our modern individualistic society. We're so focused on our own goals and ambitions that we forget to nurture our relationships.
Yeah, and I think social media can sometimes make it worse. We're constantly comparing ourselves to others and feeling like we're not good enough. It can lead to a lot of anxiety and social isolation.
True. If social exclusion can physically affect my body through pain signals, maybe meditation and mindfulness practices can help me regulate my responses to social stress. I wonder if cultivating a sense of inner peace could actually reduce my physical discomfort associated with feeling excluded or isolated.
And that's where CBT can come in. It can help you challenge those negative thought patterns and develop more realistic and positive beliefs about yourself and your relationships. Thinking about the insula being neuromodulated by social exclusion, what specific cognitive distortions or maladaptive thought patterns might be amplified, and how can CBT be tailored to challenge those distortions to minimize the pain response? It is amazing.
And exercise and better sleep could help regulate those neurological pathways in the brain, minimizing the impact of social stressors on my body too.
All right, so bringing it back to the original study, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges in this area of research?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is definitely the complexity of the gut microbiome. There are trillions of bacteria in our gut, and they're all interacting with each other and with our bodies in complex ways. It's hard to know which bacteria are beneficial and which are harmful, and how to manipulate the microbiome to achieve a desired outcome. How can we develop a more nuanced CBT model that acknowledges the complex interplay between biological factors, such as MSI intensity, and the individual's unique cognitive processes?
Yeah, and it's not just about the bacteria themselves, it's also about their metabolites, the chemicals they produce. Some of these metabolites can have a profound impact on our health, but we're only just beginning to understand what they do.
Right, and then there's the challenge of individual variability. What works for one person might not work for another because we all have different genetics, different diets, and different lifestyles. So it's hard to make general recommendations that apply to everyone.
Exactly. And that's why personalized interventions are so important. We need to be able to tailor our approach to the unique needs of each individual.
And we also need to be able to track the changes in the microbiome over time. It's not enough to just take a snapshot of the microbiome at one point in time. We need to see how it's changing in response to interventions and how those changes are affecting health outcomes. If microsatellite instability is driving such cellular heterogeneity, are there specific dietary interventions or types of exercise that could influence the instability in different cell populations within the tumor? A more tailored approach to nutrition and exercise could be key to managing this instability.
That's a great point. And that's where longitudinal studies like the one we're discussing today are so valuable. They allow us to see how the microbiome is changing over time and how those changes are related to learning outcomes.
So what are some future research directions that you think are particularly promising in this area? That's a great idea. And I think we also need to do more research on the interaction between the gut microbiome and the brain. How exactly does the microbiome influence cognitive function? What are the specific pathways involved? And how can we target those pathways to improve learning outcomes? How can understanding microsatellite instability MSI intensity at the single cell level, as revealed by scMnT, be leveraged in CB techniques to help patients with colorectal cancer process their emotions about the disease and the complexities of treatment?
I agree. And I think we also need to do more research on the role of lifestyle factors like diet, exercise, and stress management in shaping the gut microbiome. How can we use these factors to promote a healthy microbiome and improve overall health? I think the complexity of tumor heterogeneity revealed by single-cell MSI analysis is fascinating. It feels like a new frontier for applying lifestyle medicine and preventive strategies for cancer. How can we translate these insights into practical daily habits that reduce risk on a cellular level?
Those are all excellent points. It's clear that there's still a lot we don't know about the gut microbiome and its impact on health. But the research is moving forward rapidly, and I'm optimistic that we'll continue to make significant progress in the years to come.
Me too. I think this is one of the most exciting and promising areas of research in health and well-being today.
All right, I think that's a good place to wrap it up for today. Thanks for joining me in this fascinating exploration.
It was my pleasure. I always learn so much from these conversations.
Same here. Until next time, everyone.